Hello, hello, hello. Oh my goodness, Eurovision fam. It's me, Alesia Michelle. And I'm excited to be here because we have so much news to talk about. Yes, we know where we're going next year for Eurovision 2024. We're going to Malmö, Sweden. I have been there before. So let me just start off by saying that I have been there before, so I'm really hyped. I'm really hyped, and we're gonna go over some details. It's been a while, y'all. I will say I haven't gotten my tan yet because I spent the beginning part of summer like in Switzerland, even though it was very good like weather while I was there. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited. I'm so glad some of y'all are already here in the building. Hey, hey. Because we got to get down to business. There's a lot to cover, and so I guess I'm going to kick off and just say, I think some of us thought that we were going to be in Stockholm. Now, I'm not going to lie. I was living in the world that we were on this collision course. It was just like, yeah, we're just probably going to end up in Stockholm. It seemed like the team even wanted us to be in Stockholm. You know what I mean? Like, it seemed like the SVT team, was kind of trying to set things up for Stockholm. And ultimately, I think what went down was I think those football teams that had already kind of said, we don't want y'all bringing that over here. I think that was a factor. I think the other piece that was sort of at play a little bit was, yeah, we saw the concert dates for Taylor Swift, even though I don't think that that actually would have been an issue because really the dates that they ended up choosing were this earlier portion of May as opposed to kind of like this mid portion of May. For us in the United States, it like kind of coincides with like Eurovision for a few years has been coinciding with Mother's Day. Now we're going sort of that week before. So I don't think that those dates really would have hurt like with the Taylor Swift thing, but I think maybe the football teams got their way. Maybe the government was like, we don't have the money that we can throw at y'all to kind of shut you up. And so, I think ultimately what we ended up with was Malma, who had everything. And it's interesting because, I was kind of surprised when I saw the press release because, over here it's real talk. It's real talk. We're keeping it real. Um, in previous years, I feel like, there's this sort of very PR way of kind of um, setting up the announcement where it's just like, we're so excited that, this city is going to be hosting. And I'm not going to lie, y'all. I feel like we low key got the Swedish blunt sort of, direct real talk thing, which was, look, y'all, when we're thinking about Eurovision, we have to have an arena. We got to get it for a certain amount of dates. We got to get it in this time frame. You know what I mean? And so it wasn't even like, oh my gosh, we're so excited. This is going to be so great. Like, they're a beautiful city. Like, I don't really feel like that was the announcement. I felt like it was this very formal kind of like, look, y'all, they checked the boxes. The boxes were checked. And so that's why we go in there. You know what I'm saying? It just seemed real simple. And if you're kind of looking and you're like, Alicia, are you reading into this too much? We can pull it up. I like pulling the things up. So let's just go on and pull it up. Okay. All right, and I've already put some of the stuff. Okay. So now Martin said, we're thrilled that Malmo has been selected as the host city for the Eurovision Song Contest 2024. Malmo holds a special place in the history of the contest, having successfully hosted it firstly in 1992. Okay, blah, 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 blah. We're excited to be returning to this vibrant and dynamic city. Like that was all cute. But then if you listen to the Swedish team, what their response was, in the article, it was like, look, check these boxes. Okay, check these boxes. Uh, you know, yeah, check these boxes. And even Martin, even to give it up to Martin, or no, this is Ebba, executive producer for SVT, and we'll talk about the roles. When we finally had all the options, we did an overall assessment to consider all factors involved in organizing this huge event. Malmo was eventually chosen as it met all the criteria and provides a location with great venues and is a city where all those attending the Eurovision Song Contest can move around easily. Malmö is also firmly committed to providing both those visiting and living in the city a chance to participate in the festivities. We're going to get to that point later. All right, I'm going to hop into some of these comments because that was the announcement. Okay, so we've sort of encapsulated the announcement. So let me see what y'all talking about. Okay, Gospel, let's be real. Stockholm didn't take this seriously. Malmö appeared as the only practical option. I disagree with that. I think that Stockholm was taking it seriously, so seriously that they started having conversations in March. So I think that Stockholm was taking it seriously, but I think that Stockholm proved to have far more uh, factors that maybe they weren't fully accounting, factors that they thought, okay, we can negotiate our way out of this, or we can, provide this alternative. And I think that that's really the take. I think Stockholm was taking it seriously. So I wouldn't have that assessment. Das Mystery Man, next year, Malmö, Copenhagen, Sweden, Denmark, 2024. K-pop. I'm curious if the Danish delegation will sleep in Copenhagen or Malmö. You know what I mean? That's a good question. I mean, here's the thing. I think when they do these bids, I do think that there is some consideration paid to securing the blocks of hotels for delegations. If that is not a thing that it is occurring, that feels wild to me. My family reunion. Now, I mean, in my family reunion, it's probably like 200 people that could possibly show up. We secure hotel blocks for the people. So I would assume that something the scale of the Eurovision Song Contest has hotel blocks secured. And if not, Europe, come on. Y'all supposed to be more efficient than us. You know what I mean? Shadow Blade says Malmö seemed the only viable host city. To be honest, as soon as Taylor's concert dates came up, it was a done deal. I don't even want to say, I've been teasing about it on TikTok, but I really don't think that it was even the Taylor Swift of it all, because Taylor is really after the dates. And I mean, they start breaking down pretty quickly. So yeah. Yes. Okay. Marionette. Hey, Alesia, good to see you back. I'm tuning in at work in Lithuania to say hi, and we'll watch the stream later. Well, I hope you catch this later, and shout out to you in Lithuania. Okay. Lee says, I didn't think Stockholm bared in mind the EBU have made it clear over the last few years that they want to step away from capitals and instead showcase other towns, cities. I mean, we can get into this conversation. We can get into the conversation of sort of the the trend of it all a little bit too, so we can hop into that. The Shadow Blade says the EBU needs the venue to be available 1 week after the final, so that would make it until the 18th. It would be logistically impossible to take down the Eurovision stage and set up for the Eras tour. I mean, look, we'll see. Well, thank you D1992, who just gave me, I guess, $9.99, or yeah, $9.99, or £9.99, or is that euros? I'm not good with my symbols. Not on a Monday morning. ESC Scoot, I love Malmö so much. I'm glad I have an excuse to go again. Let's just, I just want to note and throw out there, I love the efficiency of this. And I really think others, like countries that win Eurovision in the future, really need to not feed into the whole long train. I feel like the long promo thing, it's gotten old a little bit quickly. Ultimately, this is a big scale event, and you need as much planning as possible to fit all the pieces in together. I'm not talking about that for us as fans. I'm talking about that just as the production team looks to build and do things. I think that that's really important, and I love that. Claire says, y'all, Sweden doesn't hang around with these announcements. I'm glad they're sticking to their efficient timing. Agreed. Lee says Loreen wanted Stockholm immensely. I mean, I'm sure. But here's the thing, when you're the artist, it ain't up to you. Claire says, perhaps Malmö is being underestimated. I don't think so. I don't think so, because ultimately, I mean, I know some people had issues with the 2013 stage. And I'm kind of going back in my brain, and I'm like, because I remember, like, the 2014 stage just so stands out to me, that, like, the 2013 stage, when I, like, think back, I'm just like, I remember it. And like I remember there was like scaffolding. Like I really remember Petra. I remember the pink Jean Paul Gaultier dress. Like that's like the stuff that sticks out to me. But I know a lot of people had critiques over the 2013 stage, and I'm not living in that space, I guess, because I'm just like, look, I remember the stages that I didn't like. You know what I mean? Like those stand out to me, and 2013 for me just hasn't really stood out. Um, but yeah, okay, let me hop back into some of these contents. So Heine Sten says, I remember talks that there was nothing to do in Malmo when the contest was there in 2013. I would love to hear from some people who were there in 2013. 2013, I remember watching it. I remember I was able to cast it that year, so I had it on the big screen. Yeah, did I cast it? No, no, no. Yeah, didn't I cast it? I can't remember. Now I'm just like, because I have gone back and rewatched 2013 a couple of times. So I'm probably conflating a little bit. But Carol says Malma 2013 had the most ugly green room of the last decade. Well, you know what? Let's pull it up. Let me just take a look. So Eurovision, because I'm like I've watched it recently, so I was like, oh, I don't need to like dig back in the archives and like look back at anything because I'm like, I just saw it. Like I was just watching it. Um, so let me see. Okay, I'm looking in. Well, I don't hate the stage actually. Looking at this photo that I'm looking at, I don't hate the stage. The stage ain't half bad. Yeah. Oh wait, no. Actually, wait. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, we had the catwalk. I don't hate this stage. And they had a moving piece of the stage. They had a platform that moved. I didn't hate it. I don't know. Maybe it's like I'm looking at pictures though. I'm not watching this in motion. Yeah, and I'm thinking like only teardrops. I like the way it looked. But hold on, let's pull up the green room because y'all had critiques on the green room. See, to me, I'm like I'm not even really thinking about that. Even though I love my. Oh yeah, that's right. Hold on. Yeah, that's right. Okay, okay. I'm looking at the pictures. Looking at the pictures. Y'all, okay, y'all might be onto something. Y'all might be onto something. Okay, yeah, yeah, because this green room was not. Yes. Ooh, ooh. Hmm. Hmm. That's okay. Y'all might be onto something. I might be willing to. I might be willing to give y'all up a little something. I was looking at. There's actually a video of it too, like where someone is like in the green room filming the green room. Y'all might be onto something. Okay. Is it true that Malmo is sold out? Well, yeah. Let's talk about all the other things because I feel like when we have these conversations about the host city announcement, we want to talk about the host city. So, I want to break this down. So I want to pull up some of the press releases too. Um, I think so. In the actual official press release, because I'm on SVT's press email, so I will say the SVT press press announcements did look different from the official EBU press releases announcing this, and that was actually the first that I saw. That was the first press release that I saw that made me go, oh, okay, they picked. And so one of the things that they noted was being able to welcome all the competing countries to Malmo is a fantastically fun and meaningful. Um, I think the fact that Malmo is a little bit affordable. And I do think the fact that we've got Copenhagen and Malmo like close to each other, it opens up, it widens it out a little bit. And I am sure that that train that they have that takes people from Copenhagen to Malmo, I think that they will be adding a couple of more trains. I just think that is the realistic thing. They will be adding a couple of more trains. I think between, the way that Denmark works, the way that Sweden works, we are going to have some more trains added. So I think that feasibility it's just going to happen. I think it is. I'm not really worried about that. Mark, thing is, the stage may not be 100% the same. Also, doesn't it depend on what delegation do with the staging that ultimately make the difference? I completely agree with you, Mark. We'll see the stage design likely in the fall. I don't think we need to see it like super early, but likely in the fall. Maybe we get blessed with a stage design in August, but we've got time, so I'm not pressed about that. Um, I think um, I think the other piece that they noted here was in conjunction with Eurovision, delegations from around 40 countries are expected to visit Malmo. Around 1,000 accredited journalists and fans are estimated to cover the festivities, and and then they noted that actually with Liverpool, when they hosted, 500,000 people visited the city in connection with the event. 500,000 people. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of bodies. Here's the thing. Let's be real, because y'all come to me because I keep it real. Malmö is not going to be able to host 500,000 people. That's city proper. That's not a crazy thing to say. They're not going to be able to host all of those people. So that's just real. We have to be realistic here. Okay? And Simon, hey Simon, the Swedish krona is quite low these days, so people in the Eurozone will have a blast. I like that. But also, if we're talking about money, if we're talking about like the dollar, the krona, the euro, things change. Things change. So who knows? Maybe we'll have some type of economic boom come, March. That might make it even more feasible for individuals. Is that me being too optimistic? Maybe. Um, maybe. So then D 1992 said, I'm booked for 321. Is that euros or pounds? Somebody tell me. Plus $85 flights. I just need a ticket. See, this is the way that y'all have the blessing. That y'all have the blessing because you're already there. You know what I mean? Flights in Europe are not ridiculous. I have to get there. I have to get there. And we'll talk about whether I'm going or not, but we'll keep it on topic. So I think when we're talking Malmö, and I see a comment that I want to hop to, but let's break down the city demographics. Okay, Malmö, Sweden. Now I know for a while Malmö was the most diverse city in Sweden. I don't know if that's still the case. Like it was the most diverse, so I don't know if that's still the case. But Malmö was Sweden's fastest growing city in 2020, and the population increased by 3,800 inhabitants during 2021. I actually know some people who moved to Malmö during the pandemic. So, yes, so it is expected to have a population of 500,000 around 2050. So, again, like I said, this is not even a large city. So, the idea that 500,000 people came to Liverpool last year, we're already saying the scale is going to be a little bit more challenging. So yeah, um, yeah. I mean, just okay. So someone broke down. So this is the pound and this is the euro. Thank you so much. I thought it was the pound. So here we are. Let's break down a little bit more into some of the demographics and the climate. Let's talk about the climate because I remember in 2013, Malmo was actually going through a little bit of like kind of like a heat wave. So it's actually pretty warm. And the thing about Malmo is it is on the water. There are beaches there. So, I think some people were able to, dip in the sea, which is always nice. I love Eurovision with a beach. Tel Aviv had a beach. It was lovely. It was nice to be able to have that. So it's looking like May. Typically, the record high is 29 degrees Celsius, 85 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's on the high. The average is about 17 degrees Celsius, 63 degrees Fahrenheit, which is like fair. I mean, that's like, that's light jacket weather. And if the sun is shining, then it's like, oh, yeah, maybe it feels like you could feel a little bit of heat, with some long sleeves. It might get a little bit hot if you sat outside, with the Aperol spritz, cheers and some people, skål. So that's kind of nice. Now, the average low is 38 degrees. And I'm gonna tell you right now, we don't want that. we don't want that. The average low being No. 38 degrees Fahrenheit, 3 degrees Celsius. Mm-mm. No. I want to travel to a little bit of warmth, a little bit of warmth. But I guess due to climate change, maybe that's not something that we have to worry about. Okay. Let's look at the demographics. So, Greater Malmö is one of Sweden's three officially recognized metropolitan areas. And so, what else do we got in there? Okay, so it's a diverse city with 179 different nationalities. Approximately 55% of the population of Malmö has at least one parent born abroad. I like that. That's interesting. And so, um, and so we've got okay. So we've got some folks from the Middle East, the Horn of Africa, some former Yugoslavia, Denmark, main sources of immigration to the area. Lovely. We love the diversity. Do we get some age demographics? Because, I like to know, are we young or are we old? Um, are we young in a way that's scary? Are we young in a way that's like, oh, okay? And then are we old in a way where it's like, okay, there's not going to be a lot to do at night or past, 12:30 in the evening. Okay, let's see. Okay, Malmö has a young population by Swedish standards, with almost half of the population under the age of 35. So 48% under the age of 35. Okay, that might be fun. That might be fun. I like that. I like that demographic. I like that. I like that demographic. Under the age of 35. I'm cool with that. That feels young enough. Um, okay, so Mark says, I'm kind of worried about when a smaller country wins, especially given the huge numbers of people and costs. Imagine if Luxembourg wins. Wouldn't they be kind of screwed when it comes to hosting? I mean, look, we saw a situation last year that was lovely, where uh, it was hosted on behalf of, and I think that that was still a great show. So I think now Liverpool and the BBC have set this lovely standard in place where it's like, okay, if you don't have the ability to do it, that then someone else can kind of step in and host on your behalf, which I think is awesome. Okay, Victor says, I'm about to give up my accommodation in Copenhagen. The flight went crazy high, and I'd much rather have an early summer holiday in Portugal and watch the show from there. Well, good for you, Victor. Good for you. Good for you. Um, I mean, look, Eurovision is a television show. You don't have to be there in person, but it is lovely to have the experience of experiencing the song contest in person. And then I want to just say this. House of Nando says, a little off topic, I would love Malmo to go back to their original slogan, We Are One, and the butterfly, and expand upon its design. You know what? I actually don't hate this idea. And I don't always like to speculate on like slogan and logo, because I'm like, ultimately, I don't think it really matters. I think some people place too much weight on things like that surrounding Eurovision. But I'm going to say here and now, I'm staking it out. That is one of my favorite logos. Like, that's one of my favorite logos. That was beautiful. And the way that it moved, the way that we saw it kind of float through the city and everything. And then when we had Eurovision 2014, the way that they incorporated the previous logo in, beautiful, beautiful. It's just nice. And I think even thinking about the way that the world is now, and how divisive things can be, I do think, oh, just revisiting that We Are One, I don't hate that. I don't hate it, but yes, I'm sure they might come up with something new and everything, but I don't hate the idea of like bringing it back around and then just updating it for the times. I don't hate that. Now, okay, y'all, let's talk about the hosting. Let's talk about the hosting. Dream hosting scenarios. Okay, dream hosting scenarios, because that's always fun. Okay, so Jordan asked me, Alesia, do you want Petra to host or do you want a fresh new face? Here's the thing. If we are able to find a fresh new face so let's all talk hosting. So if you're in the comments, we're talking about hosting right now. If we can find a fresh new face that is going to be able to be on par or top what she did, I'm all for a fresh new face. And I am always open to new talent. I am open to new talent and I am open to being proven wrong, sort of along those lines. Um, I am not for a fresh new face for the sake of giving us a fresh new face. That's not the world that I live in. I live in a world of excellence, and if you have the keys to perfection, why mix it up? That's the world that I live in. Okay, I understand. So people have said, okay, she's working with another broadcaster now. I don't think that that really matters. The market is so small. I'm sorry, the market is small. Just because she is working for somebody else does not mean you cannot write her a check and like do that. Also, I believe that non-competes should be illegal, but that's my union speak. Um, so she might have had to sign a non-compete, and I do think that those are real things. If she has a non-compete, I doubt that she does. Then obviously she would not be an option. Let's also address the other elephant in the room. She has been having some health issues, and I think she's been having like physical health issues, like back problems, not mental or anything like that, but they've taken a toll on her body and everything. Um, Here's the thing. That's what chairs are for. And if we need to wheel her out in a beautifully designed gown to accommodate said said situation, I believe that we should do that, because even in a wheelchair, she will still be funnier and probably more talented than a lot of these people we got floating around here. Okay. That is just how talented she is. And that is not to slight anybody else. That is just to give her props and flowers for the talent that she is. So I say that. But let's talk about some other options. We didn't have Sarah Dawn Finer really on the main stage for Eurovision ever. I love her. She is great. I would love to see Sarah. We can have her. I would almost love to see her interacting with herself. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I would be down for the her and the character. Here's my only note about Sarah. Sometimes when I have seen her doing presenting, she gives us very like kind of straight man sort of performance. And straight man is not like in the sexuality, it's in the like roles that you play in hosting. You have to have someone who's like you have the goofball. Sometimes we have like the singer, and then you have the person who kind of plays it straight. She has a tendency to play it straight. So then then I feel like with Linda Woodruff is like her way to like mix things up and have fun. So if we're gonna have Sarah in sort of the straight man kind of role to just be sort of like, okay, this is like the showrunner, the kind of person to play it straight to a certain degree, I don't mind that. But then it poses the question of like, who are we gonna then bring in for the jokes? Who's gonna give us the comedy on the stage? Because we know Sarah can sing, so she'll give us a little bit of the song and dance as well. So there's that. Deep says Oscar Zia was very unprofessional and often forgot his lines in Melody Festival. And I don't know nothing about that, but I like Oscar. And I thought he was actually funny. Like watching that season of Melody Festival, and I found actually interesting. Now I'm gonna tell y'all, when we talk about playing the straight role, I think Farah is in the running. And this is Farah who did Melfest. Farah Abadi? Yeah, right? That's her name, right? Um, I think that she's gonna be in the running. I think she's from Malmo too. So I think that she's probably gonna be um, yeah, I think that she's gonna be thrown around in the mix. And so then that makes it a little bit challenging, because then if we bring in Sarah Dawn Finer, then she has to do the showgirl role, which I think for the singer host role, we have a little bit more flexibility there. I wouldn't mind. Hold on. What's that young man? Theater background. Someone's going to say this in the comments. I can see his face. He's performed at Melody Festival, and he has hosted Melfest. He has hosted Melfest before. Brunette. Um, oh my gosh, why am I blanking on his name? Um, oh my gosh, hold on, y'all. Y'all are gonna kill me. Y'all are gonna kill me. What is that man? I'm just gonna look at Melody Melfest host. Maybe someone just has a list of and I will find it. I will find it. I will find it. Didn't he host with Sana? David, David Lindgren. Yeah, not Eric. No, not Eric Saad. David. David. I I would like to see David in the mix. He's great. He can sing. He's actually funny. I think he's a performer. I would love to have him floated around. Um, David is the one. I would like David. I would like David in the mix. Some people have bought up Sana Nielsen. I'm going to say no with that one. Sana's just a little bit too formal. She's not funny enough. We need the bants. We need the banter. We need the chat. And so I think if Farah is going to be in the building, playing sort of, um, the straight woman kind of role. I think she's your like presenter, but she's still fun. She's still quick with it. She still gives us the chat and the banter that we need. And then we could mix up and have David coming in with a little bit of fun. And then look, even though I don't love the idea of four hosts, I feel like we're now living in this world where people feel like we have to have four hosts. I'm not living there. Then how about this? We bring out Petra for the finale. Let her do the Graham Norton thing. So we let the other people do, Tuesday and Thursday. Farah, David, and then maybe you could throw somebody else in there fun and young, like maybe. Then we have Petra come in for the final. Petra has to be involved on some level. Like she's just way too talented. She's too good. She's too good. Someone said Tona. No, thank you. And the reason why I say no, thank you is the resume ain't long enough. You haven't even hosted Melfest. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah. Like, I'm not with that. We got people with longer resumes. Um, period. House of Nando said, "Are we ruling out Loreen as presenter? I wouldn't hate that. I'll tell you, I'd hate it." And y'all know I love her. Like I love her. I would hate that. Let her focus on being a performer. I just no, thank you. No, thank you. Um, Master says, "I think Eurovision would be really hype with Paul Ray as one of the hosts." I love Paul. He hasn't even hosted Melody Festival in. You know what I mean? Like, come on, y'all. Like, the resume ain't long enough. 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 No. No, 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 no. Um, someone said I really like the dude from Melody Festival in this year. With love, I didn't love him. He wasn't bad, but I did not love him. That was Jesper. Jesper, I didn't love. Mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. I think Farah is definitely going to be one of the hosts, and I'm cool with that. Like I'm definitely cool with that. I just feel like though the thing is I'm waiting for someone maybe that's giving like that fresh young feel perhaps, but maybe we don't really need it. And we bring that fresh young feel in the videos, in the interludes and the video packages and things like that. And I'm cool. I'm cool with that, but you know what? What about Lena? What about Lena? I could see them calling her up. I could see Lena getting called up. Um, and then and I'm talking about Lena Phillipson, not Lena Headland. Lena Headland's too much showgirl. Like I like her. Let's have her perform in an interlude or something like that. But I'm thinking Lena Phillipson has like that. She's got like that. She's got spunk. She's got energy. Like she's cute. Like I kind of would feel her. I think that could be someone that we could look at. Um, I like Shirley Clamp, but not her. Mons, they're not gonna ask Mons again. I think he's out. Sarah Dawn Finer will definitely be incorporated. Like Linda Woodruff is definitely coming back. But I would like Sarah on the stage. I know because she sang The Winner Takes It All, one of the best renditions ever of The Winner Takes It All remake, period. But I like David. I think if I had to pick my dream team, because Farrah's just gonna be there and I'm cool with her. So Farrah Abadi, David Lindgren, bring Petra in for the final, and then SVT, you can pick. I gave you one slot free. I gave you one spot free. Yeah, yeah. I gave you one spot free, SVT. So I told you all the hosts that we should have for Eurovision. And actually, now that I've said it, now they probably won't want to run those people their check, because then they'll just be like, oh, well, Alesia will just say, that we have to now run her a check. And I won't say that to you. I won't say that to you, because I actually think I've given you really a nice hosting team for Eurovision 2024. You're welcome. But I would appreciate a check. I'll accept accreditation. Okay. Gospodin, do you think this is going to be the last Eurovision in Sweden for a long time if the EBU reduces jury weight in the final? No. Loreen still came second. Let's stop living in the delusion. She still came second in the televote. Let's stop living in a world where she came like fifth. Hell, where she came third. You know what I mean? Like, she didn't. She came second. So I don't think. Peter says, I predict Zara will do an interval act. Yes. But here's the thing. I don't think Zara Larsson's going to do an interval act in the final. I think Zara's going to do an interval act at one of the semis. That's what I think is going to happen. Because at the final, I think we're going to get the holograms, a.k.a. the ABBA holograms. And then they're going to figure out how to take that ABBA show that's currently in the UK. It's in London, right? I don't know. But they're going to figure out how to take that show on the road, a la Riverdance. You heard it here first. Come here for the real tea, because they want to tour that. That's not going to make the big bucks. They're holograms anyway. They're going to figure out how to tour it. So yeah. So we're going to have ABBA, yes, performing, not them, the holograms, then promoting that show in the grand final. I think that'll be the big draw for that. K-pop says, I wish they'd involve Anna Bergendahl in a way, because she's iconic to us. We're such a small subset. I'd love to see her involved, though, because if Susie can have her shot, if she can have her shot on the Eurovision stage, sans like her participation, Anna absolutely should be. So they'll need to figure out some way to incorporate her. You know what I would love, though? This is just an interval act idea. That Swedish Idol, it was 2010, Swedish Idol, produced so many like Melfest heavy hitters, because Anna was there, Lulu was there, Robin was in that class of Swedish Idol. I would even be down for just like, I think there should be one that's like the Swedish Idol 2010 like crew, because that was just like heavy hitters. So I think they should have one that's like them. And then I think there should maybe just be a medley of all of like the heavy hitters that have come from like Swedish Idol. And it doesn't have to be to give in like a nod to Swedish Idol in like a direct way. But I think even just to get all those people who formerly were Swedish Idol people to perform together in some type of medley, I would love to see it. I would love to see it. Okay. So Thilim, I can't really pronounce it, but Thilim says the mamas have to be platformed in some way this Eurovision season. I was going to get to that. They have to. SVT, we need to figure out a mama's moment in some way, shape, or form. And honestly, some way, shape, or form on the stage. I don't want them in intervals. I don't want them in videos. You can put them in videos additively. They can be placed in videos. But they need to be on that stage. Semifinal 1, semifinal 2, grand final. Figure it out. It has to happen, though. Gina Durari, here's the thing. I liked Gina Durari, and I'd be okay with her coming back. She's young, she's fresh, she's cool. And I told you, I gave SVT one more spot because I want Kaspara, a body, David, definitely in semifinal one and semifinal two. They can add whomever else. I gave them a free spot, and then Petra's gonna come on in the final. Yeah. So there we go. And someone said the mamas split up though. The mamas, we can get call them up. They're gonna need to be on the stage. Okay, that's all. That's all I'm gonna say. Alicia Somali says, do you think statements will get a moment on stage? Loreen's gonna do a medley. She's gonna do a medley, so statements will probably be featured in said medley. So I'll say that. Um, yeah. So K-pop says, Alesia, do you have a budget for the whole Eurovision trip with your fam, 5K or something? Here's the thing, y'all. So now we like I will just say we've done okay, so we've done I think we've hit all the things. We've talked about prospective hosts, we've talked about prospective interval acts, we talked about the demographics of Malmö, but I actually want to pivot. Let's talk about Copenhagen. Because we've given Malmö, our official host city, their due, and now we need to talk about Copenhagen, where is basically the place where we're all gonna stay, right? Right? Lucky person in the comments, whoever has been able to secure location in Malmo, please raise your hand, because there's going to be 2 nights where I'm going to need a couch. And actually, I got a couple of friends in Malmo, so maybe I can hit them up. Just like, look, I'm going to need a couch probably. I'm going to need one night for a Euro Club night. You know, throw the baby at my parents, even though my daughter's not really a baby anymore. She's a toddler. But they can watch her one night. So I'm going to need one night then. And then maybe turquoise carpet night I should stay in Malmo. Maybe because that's a Sunday, so maybe that's the night I have to stay, and then I have to pick one like Euro Club night, which will probably be the Wednesday, maybe the Wednesday. So let's see. Okay, Philip Rosehand got a place. Shout out to you. Okay, House of Nando, I got an Airbnb in Malmo. Shout out to you. Okay, okay. Anyone else? EFC Scoot. Shout out to you. Okay. I'm talking about the people who got shout out to you. Okay, wait. Miles. I got an Airbnb in Malmo, but I'm assuming it will be canceled. Shout out to you. Shout out to all the people who are able to find accommodations in Malmo City proper. Cause baby, I had a list and all them things got scooped up by the time I woke up. This is like American problems. American, or not even I shouldn't say American, but non-European Eurovision fan problems, because I'm behind. Australia might not be too hard because you could just stay up late for when the news drops, right? Is that how it works? I don't know. For us, it's like the news drops, I'm asleep. And so then when I wake up, then I have to move into action. And typically by the time I've moved into the action, ain't nothing there. So right now, it currently looks like pretty much everything Airbnb wise, more than 2 bedrooms in Malmo, that are like an entire place, is looking pretty gobbled up at this point, if not gobbled up a fortune. And it looks, and the hotels done. I tweeted this out yesterday, so you can look at my tweet at Alesia Michelle. You can see that's been, the hotels even are gobbled up, so you'd have to stay in Lund, or you'd have to stay like south of Malmö. And here's the thing. Why stay in Lund when you can stay in beautiful Copenhagen? It's a wonderful city. It's bikeable. There's tons of things to do. There are Michelin star restaurants everywhere, actually at affordable prices. So why would you stay there when you can be in Copenhagen? Okay. Um, yeah. So, yeah, I think, I would say that, that, so spoiler alert, if the question is, Alesia, are you going? Alesia was able to find, in Copenhagen. Now, mind you, I made 5 requests on Airbnb before someone finally accepted. So there is space for my parents, there is space for my child, there is space for me in Copenhagen. So I will be staying in Denmark for Eurovision 2024 happening in Sweden. That is what I will be doing. Um, and you don't have to give me flight information. It is always easy for me to get to Copenhagen. It's a direct flight. It's a direct flight. I have no issues getting to Copenhagen. So, looking forward to that. And even if I couldn't get a direct flight, I could get something with a layover, likely in Iceland. But I'm gonna be hoping on being in the big jet, flying over directly to Copenhagen, and I will choose. I will think thoughtfully about the days that I will go to Malmö. So I just want to say shout out to Riley. Shout out my dude Riley. You weren't in the final, but you will be close to the final next year. All you had to do was wait a year. um, so yes. So Mark says, ironically, I think Denmark will benefit the most from next year's contest, despite not qualifying for 3 years in a row. They will. Gospodin, did you ever consider going to ESC 2023, or you was always out of consideration? No. I considered going to Eurovision 2023. I looked at flights. I looked at hotels. I looked at Airbnb stays. It just was way too expensive. From the flight was way too expensive. There was nothing even like kind of remotely direct-ish, and even the flights were looking funky. Like I would have had crazy layovers just to then get there and then not have a place to stay. All the Airbnbs that I saw were either way too expensive, or, and this idea is, some people say like, oh, we'll wait a little while longer. I have a whole child and an actual career. I cannot wait. I need to plan ahead. I'm literally on the top of my office building right now. Look at the, oh, wait, look at the Washington Monument right there. So I'm on the top of my office right now. So yeah, like it's just not everyone has the ability to do that, and that's okay. Like that's okay. I understand the limitations that I face when it comes to me being able to experience the Eurovision Song Contest in person. The main limitation being I am not even European. So that's like holistic. It was just far too expensive for me to have made it work holistically. And I mean, honestly, the flight alone would have been like, this is out of the question. Like, this is too much. Then pair that with the limited amount of accommodations that were in a bracket that I could do. And I say this as someone, when I say I have a real career, I say this as someone who actually has some means. So I have some means more so than others in the space, you know. So I'm not even saying this like, oh, I'm just like completely broke. I tease about it. But you know, I have more, I recognize from my place, I have more means than other people, because, you know, even the fact that I am even thinking about going to Europe. And you have to think about this. When I go to Copenhagen, when I travel for Eurovision 2024, I have to pay a full price ticket for my child who is a toddler. There's no like child's tickets, which is a crime, but we can talk about that later. Yeah, so ESC says, since you will go next year in 2024, would I think you're saying, which country would need to win in 2024 for you to instantly say you will go as well in 2025, since you prefer to take a break every second year, which I do try. I mean, honestly, like my goal was to do like 1 year on, 1 year off, like blah, blah, blah. A place, what country would have to win that I'd just be like, oh, I gotta go? I think any Balkan country, I'd be like, oh, I gotta go. Croatia, Serbia, Slovenia. If Montenegro comes back, North Macedonia, I would like to be able to travel to. What else? Where else would I just be? Oh, Greece, Cyprus. It's an instant we going. Like Greece, I'll tell you, Greece is an instant we're all going. Like not even just me and like my immediate family. I probably got some cousins that would be like, "Ooh, Greece? Where we staying?" Like, you know, we're getting the villa. You know, if it's Greece, we're getting the villa. Okay, We're going to be in there, heavy, deep. Yeah, that's a pretty, like, that's an instant. We're all going. Where else? Spain would probably get me. Spain would probably get me. But I think with Spain, it would depend upon what city and the accessibility around that and availability, so I would be mindful of that. But Spain, I'd be like, oof, I'm going to research it. France, probably the same. France would be a oof, I'm going to research it. To be fair, Germany, I'd research it. And Czech Republic. Czech Republic, instant. I'm going. Because Czech Republic, it's going to be Prague. It ain't going to be nowhere else. So if it's Czech Republic, they win, it's going to be Prague. It'll be dope, affordable, not that hard to get to. So great question. Because, that's good for me to know in my brain. But, anywhere else, it's not that I wouldn't be excited to go. But, it's just, means, accessibility, access, budget, budget. I would say, K-pop, Iceland. Yeah, Iceland. But what makes me nervous about Iceland isn't so much it'd be the accommodations. So if I could get accommodations in Iceland, cool, in there. But if the accommodations prove to be complicated, then I have to be ready. Alicia says Paris is ready. I think if France wins Eurovision, it's not happening in Paris. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Y'all come here for the tea. It won't be in Paris. It'll be somewhere else for the tea. Yeah, for the tea. Faith ESC, Balkans are really overdue a win. They've been stepping up their game. Quiet as it's kept. Or maybe not quiet as it's kept. It needs to happen. Yeah. And then, yeah. Gospodin, it's crazy the last Balkan country to win Eurovision was Serbia. Really? It's gotta happen. We need that Balkan win. And they've been coming correct. But it's not up to me. It's really some of these televotes. House of Nando, I really want a country to win that didn't win yet. I do too. We got someone loud and wrong in the content in the comments. Linnea says, I thought this was a song contest, not the Eurovision Song Contest, not the best Eurovision vacation contest. What live stream are you listening to? Someone asked me a question and said, what country winning would make you go, okay, I need, that I would consider. That's why I was saying where I would go. It's not about who I want to see win. I'm just saying the countries, because ultimately we all want the best song to win. Over here on this channel, I can't talk about what other people do on their channels. I can only talk about what we do over here. And what we do over here, we talk about the songs, we talk about the staging, we talk about the vocals, we talk about the full package. But if it's talking about me and my checkbook and what I can afford and where I can go, that's a different conversation. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole nother conversation. So yeah, that's what we're talking about. Daniel says it would be amazing if Luxembourg won their returning year. It would be amazing, but I'm not gonna lie. I do feel like Luxembourg is gonna come correct. I think they're gonna finish top 10, and that's just one of my wild predictions. I just think if you look at their track record, I don't think they're gonna come back here with anything bobo. I don't think they're gonna come back here with anything weak. I think they're gonna come back strong. But I'm not gonna lie. I want them to pay their dues a little bit. Give us maybe 2-3 years, and then we can talk about a win. You know what I mean? Maybe. Depending upon how correct they come. Because I will take that back if they come real correct. Okay. I'm okay with that. What would I say? So then Copen says Poland would be interesting from that perspective. Here's the thing, Poland, if they won, I would almost want to go just because I feel like they want it. I just feel like they want it, and I would almost want to, light that candle with them and set off the firecrackers. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be there for the celebration when they win. But I just think I don't know. But honestly though, their national selection, although people were upset with the results, the show I enjoyed watching. I really did enjoy watching the show. House of Nando. Any debuts or returning countries you'd like to see for 2024? I mean, I want Macedonia back. I want North Macedonia back. I want Montenegro back. I want to have at least 40 countries participating this year. Period. Period. I want at least 40 countries participating. That 37, yeah, we did that. I don't want that no more. I want 40. I want 40. And hopefully with, Malmö being accepted as our host city, it does feel a little bit that there is a mind and an eye of like, we do need to make this sustainable. And you notice that in both the press release that SVT has sent out, we notice that in the EBU press release, there is a mindfulness about the sustainability. So I like that. Beckett Fid said, how about Switzerland winning next year? Czech will be crying. Absolutely. And y'all know I was in Switzerland for work. I was in Switzerland for work. I won't be going back there personally. It was expensive. Las Reflexiones. Do you think Spain could win in the next years? Yes. Yes. Why not? Yes. Sean says Luxembourg will be the new Australia. Not if Australia continues to be continues to be Australia, you know. Yeah, so I'm excited about that. Well, I need to wrap this up because we're talking about the host city, and we're going to Malmö, kinda. Because again, I think a lot of us will be staying in Copenhagen. Me, I will be in Copenhagen. Me. But I also want to say we will still be doing watch parties in Washington, D.C. Details to come, but we will be doing watch parties in Washington, D.C. And I will also just plug, I will do an event probably in Malmö. So for folks who follow me, when I was in Turin, we did a cocktail crawl, and then we did a dinner. I am planning on trying to do a dinner event or food tour in Malmö. So keep it locked here. We will try to do some type of fan activity on the ground. And if there really continues to be a ton of us in Copenhagen, maybe I will then try to do like an event in Copenhagen or something like that. I like to give people like some stuff to do. Like I'm not just like, it's not about like this is not a meet and greet. Like I am not famous, but like things to do where we can just have a space to like kind of connect. So keep in mind, there will be a DC watch party for Eurovision. Yes, there will be definitely an event in Malmö, and tentatively, depending upon how things go, we might try to figure out something. Honestly, what I'd like to do in Copenhagen would be like a bar night, like, not a bar night, but like a club night kind of thing. Identifying like a bar or space that will allow us to, bring in a DJ or something like that we can do like in Copenhagen. So that I will be planning to do. So keep it locked here. Faith, I heard Malmö won the bid because they had the best package and because they were the only able. Yeah. We already talked about that. Okay. Sorry, but thank you. Quincy says, late to the stream, and thank you for the money. For a host city, I would consider one with strong transit. So if I'm not able to stay in the exact city, I would still be in the area. Malmö has wonderful transit. I have been there. When I first went to Europe, Malmö was on my list. So I did Stockholm. Then I went down to Malmö, where one of my friends is actually from, stayed with her and her family. We hung out. And then I took the train to Copenhagen, hung out in Copenhagen, I have some friends who live there, and then took my flight back to the States. So it was great. Olympic Song Contest, thoughts on Monaco returning? Would love to see it. As long as we get 40 countries, I'm in here. Daniel says, I booked Copenhagen. Hey, I see you, boo. Maybe I will see you too. And Andreas, as someone who lives in Copenhagen, this is amazing. Yes. I mean, it's great. It's great. I'm excited. SVT is going to put on an amazing show. You notice how we're not hearing anybody worried about that. We're going to have a slick show. I think the hosting that we have is going to be good. I think that the hosting will be great. Now, this is one thing I didn't touch on. I think the one downgrade from Liverpool to Malmo will be the fact that in Liverpool, everyone was able to just have that kind of connection. There was a lot happening on the ground. Everyone was able to stay like really, really connected. And unfortunately, I don't think that there's going to be kind of that same feel, really. And I think that there won't be that feel mostly because. Um, just not everyone's going to be able to stay in Malmo City proper. So a little bit of that is going to feel, I think, lacking. But I do think Malmo being this city that isn't a capital city, I think when we are in Malmo, we will feel that Eurovision spirit. So I don't think the late night clubbing and like fun meetups and just chatting into the night in the park that that was happening in Liverpool. I don't know if that's really going to be the case in Malmo because we all got a train to catch so that we can make it back to Denmark. So I don't know if that will be happening, but we'll have some chats, I guess, on the train. There'll be Eurovision party trains back into Copenhagen. So maybe that'll be happening. So I don't think that it'll be awful. I don't think that it'll be awful, but I do think that that will be a natural downgrade from what was happening last year. And that's okay. It's just different. Every year is not going to be the same, and we got to be okay with that. And the wind and my hair and my mouth is attacking me. But what do you think? Malmo is going to be, I think, a great host city for Eurovision. I think we are going to be having an amazing Eurovision season. Logistically, I don't think we have to worry about any of that. So don't worry. Don't worry. Don't worry. Let's get excited for Eurovision 2024. I'm excited. So, yeah, but yeah, tell me what you think in the comments though. Some people might still be coming down and are a little bit bummed it's not Stockholm, and that's okay too. You just found out on Friday. You just found out. So you are allowed a couple of days to come down and decompress. It's okay. It's okay. Thank you for watching and be back for more content. I've got an interview series that is already launched. Please check that out. I also have an interview coming out this week. Please check that out. And of course, my 10 things, now that we have our host city, my 10 things video will be dropping very soon. Very soon. So keep a lookout for that. Thank you for watching. Bye.